Peace, family. Peace, family. Welcome back to the Chef Joseph's Kick Sauce for Entrepreneurs channel. Yeah, it's another day for y'all entrepreneurs and entrepreneurettes out there. Those of you who are desiring to do something greater with your lives, thanks for tuning in. So it's another day on the entrepreneur, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, sector. But it's another day here that we have another chance to get it right. You know what I'm saying? I want to start this video off with something that I heard the Joker say. And so I actually don't take credit for this, and we're just going to take a listen to this and expound on it because it talks about abandonment. It talks about having to pull yourself up, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes you have to walk through healing yourself. I know as an entrepreneur, when you're desiring to do great things or bigger things, then you're going to go through a lot of emotions. People will leave you, relationships will change. People will even look at you funny out of hate and jealousy, and it's like you're not even doing anything to them. Like you're literally trying to level up with your own life. So at the end of the day, that can lead to abandonment issues, which is a pretty serious thing that a lot of people are not aware of. Just being abandoned and then having a feeling of abandonment where people walk in and out of your life and you just don't have a safe space where you can go. You know what I'm saying? I've been there and literally had to fight through that all alone. So take a listen to this and tell me what you think. We'll talk about it in a second.
The Joker once said, the most dangerous person you'll ever meet is the one who healed alone. Not dangerous in a violent way. Dangerous because they rebuilt themselves without anyone's help. They faced the worst parts of life and had no one to lean on, so they became their own foundation. When you heal alone, you learn things others don't, that no one's coming to save you, that you can survive anything because you already have. Let other people's opinions don't matter when you've already seen yourself at rock bottom and climbed out alone. These people don't fear abandonment. They've already been abandoned. They don't need validation. They validated themselves. They don't chase anyone. They know whoever's meant to stay will stay.
All right, we're gonna stop right there. So let's talk about this thing of having to climb out the pit alone. And some of you, how many of y'all can identify with that? You know what I'm saying? That you were put on a path to do something, and for whatever reason, people turn their backs on you when you really needed them the most. When you really needed their support, where were they? And those of you who develop strength, a certain type of strength, you've learned to climb out alone. And somehow these people tend to want to make their way back into your life, after they walked away from you. There's a situation, I'm not going to go too deep into that, but there's been a couple of guys in particular who left me, in the line of duty, left me in the line of duty. Like we were about to do some stuff going on, business related, and it's like because of their external habits, it caused them to not want to show up, which means I was left holding the bag. And those two same people simultaneously, those two people, they both tried to re-enter my life. They didn't even know it. That's the thing. About a year or so later, when everything really hit them, who do you think they reached out to? One thing about me and you, but speaking for myself as an entrepreneur, that you have to be willing to go with this thing alone, okay? You will be faced with looks. You'll be faced with jealousy. You'll be faced with so much. And I want to prepare you for that. I really do, because you can't let that stop you. You know what I'm saying? You are building something great for yourself. You're building like a legacy for your children. I know there's a lot going on in the world, but that doesn't mean that you have to forfeit your dreams, behind it. And a lot of you will find yourself alone, such as I did. And I know for years, at least 9+ years, I literally just disappeared to really work on myself and to build my craft. And then when I resurfaced, that's when everybody is like, oh, he's this, he's a deadbeat, whatever. Not everybody, but anyway, one person in particular. And, and it's like you were working on yourself. You weren't bothering anyone. You were just trying to live your life and maintain, you know. And ironically, here, people, they abandon you. And then you look up after you've gotten to your level, and here they want to come knocking at the door. I say don't let them in. You know what I'm saying? Because when you needed them the most, they weren't there. And some of you know what that's like. And it is a very uncomfortable place to be. When you trusted people, you trusted them with secrets, you trusted them with ideas, um, and then at the same time, then they go ghost. I guess because it gets a little too hot in the kitchen, for them. But that really, it's really a blessing in disguise because it really shows you who they really were or who they really are. And if they're not willing to go with you and stick with you through the mud and through the thick and thin, then they're not fit for battle. You can't trust someone that walks away from you in the heat of everything. You know what I'm saying? You need people that's going to be in the trenches with you. And one thing about this, I can tell you that when you come out on the other side, especially having to go through it alone, like we just heard, you know who you are and you know what it takes and know what it took to get there. And that's one of the things people fail to see is that when you become, you know, when you have mastered your life, you went through your fire, and you took all the heat and came out on the other side, can't no one take that from you. They can't take it from you whatsoever because you know who you are now. So that means you can look at you, that they can look at you crazy, side-eyed, whatever. They can look at you any type of way. You know what I'm saying? And they can formulate their own opinions. But guess what? They didn't walk in your shoes. They don't know what it took for you to go through your night of the dark soul, such as I did. I talk about all that in the book, by the way. And yeah, so they're not going to know. They don't know these things. So you can't let that discourage you because if you're on a path all, by yourself, especially if you had to climb out the pit to get on your level, man, you can't even look at them. It's like, I mean, you can look at them, but it's just not, what I'm saying? It's like they can't relate. But the beautiful thing is you know who you are. And that's a beautiful thing. And can no one strip that from you? I'm at a place in my life, I don't care what people think. Because people going, like I learned years ago, you can have $1 million in the bank and you can be on the corner begging. Someone always going to have an opinion about you. You know what I'm saying? And so you can't let that type of stuff affect you. You just can't. They don't have a pot for you to use the bathroom in, type of thing. You know what I'm saying? But when you have to walk through things alone and fight through abandonment, though it seems, and it can be a very dark time, those can be some very dark times for people and for yourself. But on the other end, when you get to that light, man, it's definitely, it has made you, like my friend Mary would say, 100 proof. Yeah, it makes you 100 proof. I was in a conversation the other day with someone in my past, back in my hometown, and it was no shade to her at all. We went through school together and all this, that, and the other. I know that I had left and went through building myself, literally, and but nothing against people in your past, but I can tell you that we're on two different playing fields. And for me to go back and even entertain those old conversations, I just paid attention to my spirit. It was like, man, when I was going through all this stuff, I was abandoned. Nobody was there for me. As an entrepreneur, when I was building, no one gave me ideas. I really draw off the universe and just believed in myself. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing that you need to learn is to believe in yourself. That's very important as well. So anyway, I just want to drop that on you. Do not, and don't fear abandonment. Don't fear what people are going to say, what they think. But when you have to climb out the pit alone, and you get on top, outside of that pit, can nobody hold a candle to you? They can't. What they say is just going to roll off your back. It's going to roll off of you, because you look at them, you look at your life, because you become free, and you look at them, they're still in some form of bondage. Whether it's whatever, you can fill in the blank with that. But anyway, I just want to drop that with you. What I'm saying, for the word for today. And I'll see y'all in the next video. And thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. Peace.